Ah, the French. A monster in Paris. In 1910, Paris was devastated with a tremendous flood that had parts of the city become essentially Venice, with boat taxis and sidewalks on scaffolding. To this day, you can find plaques around the city denoting the water level for that year. None of this is explained in this movie. I was lucky enough to see this in the theater back when it came out, and at the time I knew nothing of 1910 and just assumed I was watching some kind of sci-fi version of the world. But I feel knowing the history enriches the film, as its themes are about taking something scary and making beauty. I did not see it in 3D at the time. Indeed, I had no idea there was a 3D version until recently. I got myself the European Region B edition, which has the 3D and regular version of the movie on the same disc, and that disc has no 3D logo printed on it. In the US, this is available from Shout Factory. Now, this 3D version chooses to have very little depth, deciding to leave the background largely as a portrait. Normally, I would find that very disappointing, but here the backdrop does happen to look like a painting, so it gives it something of a graphic novel feel, and the style is very easy to get accustomed to. This guy encounters something scary, and the camera pulls in, and we get to see his biggish nose poke out at us. It's silly fun, but the sudden push in stereo also helps awaken the senses to the moment. Also, this long hallway shot helps give a sense of the quiet, lonely despair that was being felt. You really sense the aloneness in the corner. The movie likes to give us something in stereo in every shot. This is appreciated, especially when we go above the city, an area where other 3D movies might decide to just let it be completely flat. But here we get the most immediate buildings nicely cut out from the rest, creating almost a pop-up book feel, which again feels appropriate to this fairy tale of a story. Street level is interesting. You will often see shots where the background is essentially flat, but a car or someone will come walking up and gradually take on a stereo presence as they approach the camera. Sometimes this is even seen in close areas, like this restaurant shot, where the waiter is entirely flat until he approaches the table. Again, like a painting that is reaching out. But it's during chase scenes, of which there are several, where this style actually helps follow the leaping around of the action. 3D likes it slow. So when the camera is moving around, it helps to be a bit shallow. There's a minor roller coaster moment where we follow a trolley down some steps. Like a big nose, the trolley car has some wonderful stereo pushing out, and we don't really notice the lack of depth in front of it. When the chase enters the narrow streets, it often gives us a nice tunnel feel. And notice this unique curved mirror shot. There may be subtle 3D in this movie, but it has lots of variety and interesting things to see. The gun pointing is a strange missed opportunity. The barrel is given no particular stereo push, very much de-emphasized. I wonder how much of this stereo was formed to taste or to cost. Deeper 3D conversion can cost more because there's simply more work to be done. In an interview with the director, who is the same guy responsible for The Road to El Dorado and Shark Tale, he talked a little bit how the budget affected the art direction. Animating hair, for example, was expensive. So for much of the movie, especially the action-filled later half, the girl wears a hat. So perhaps in a way to complain about this movie and its 3D is like complaining that, hey, you're not Disney, you're not Illumination, how dare you even try? They had a limited palette and they did very, very well with it. And perhaps it's due to its gentle style. I found once you get into the rhythm of the movie, it becomes very relaxing, like settling in on a big cushy couch. Your mind starts to rest, and the image, this weird dancing portrait, starts to become a pleasant companion, which is a bit ironic as it is a monster movie. Now, perhaps I'm making excuses for this one because I have fond memories of catching it in the theater while on a date. And a perfect date movie it was, because like being on a date, the movie is all about doing something fearful to find something joyful.